I love that. Yeah, I thought this was a bit different, this one, because that's resting on a large wooden post about this wide and obviously this high. I don't know if I mentioned last time, but I got one of the, those jobby gorilla pod things, right? It's one of the big SLR Zoom ones, and I've got one of the ball heads, so it means I can take it out with me when I'm doing these and mount it places. There's nothing like a bit of mounting when you're out for a walk. But yeah, so we'll try something a bit more stable. Help a bit. So what sort of week have we had? Let's just move this a bit. Well, while I'm moving this over here, like that, I'll explain what sort of a week we've had. Here, we'll just, you know, have a look at that fire down there. I'm not sure what the hell's happening, but it's a nice interesting fire. Last couple of weeks my insomnia's been going absolutely nuts. Not been getting to sleep till about 6:30 in the morning, and then I've got to be about 7 for the kids. So it's pretty wiped out. Not particularly good. I'd wound up a lot of the work that I needed to get done, so that was one thing. And I never take on work usually when the kids are off school because you can't get anything done. So I was basically feeling like shit for a fortnight. And of course, when the kids are off, it just drives you crazy because you can't get anything done. So I haven't really sculpted up till, well, today is what, Friday, but up till Monday I hadn't sculpted for 2 weeks. Maybe a bit more than that. So, as it happened, you know, well, I've got to remove this. Just the way it worked out, you know what I mean? That I couldn't get sculpting, it just throws it off, you know what I mean? No matter what you do, your hands take a while to get back in. We'll try something here. Don't think that guy liked the idea of this being on top of there. Now what we'll try and do, but I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll show you what this is. Oh, by the way, you like the beard? Yeah, real beard. Watch. Now that's what I'm working with, right? And these things all bend sort of like strange angles and stuff, you grab on and stuff. Now I'm going to try and put this around my arm, which theoretically should stabilise it. It also, if you bend it correctly, you can use it as a sort of stand-in for a shoulder mount. I'll show what I mean later on one of the shots. Now yes, you look like a bit of a dick with this thing dripped on your arm, but the grand scheme of things, it seems like a better solution. What else has been happening? Well, I've got all the, as I say, the stuff sorted out for the TV series. It's not this week, it's next week. I've asked for them very nicely. The company there's like an intermediate company between Sky, who it's for, and what I'm doing. I've asked them very nicely. They've agreed to do a full breakdown of what I've actually created and how it's integrated in the shot. So, although I can't actually tell you till probably the day of broadcast, don't worry, because afterwards, if you're really that interested, I'll put something up. You know, it'll probably be part of my production reel. Now, my production reel is not my demo reel. My demo reel is the stuff that everybody gets to see. The production reel is full of stuff that I can't show, right? Like stuff I did for, you know, a certain film that's now released that I can't mention. Which is a shame because the shot is fucking amazing, you know. Would do my career the world good, put it that way. But can't show it. I'm allowed to put it on the demo reel, well, production reel rather. But the production reel can't go online. Or rather it can, but it needs a password, and you know, you only really get the password is from me. Right? It's only allowed when I'm going in for a job or a freelance gig or something like that, you know. It's not just allowed for anybody to see. Now I may do a public version. Now the idea is to update this production reel every month, and as I can put more and more stuff in it, you know, there'll still be 2 versions, but we'll see. Now as I said a while ago, the redo of Dash.Slash is sort of done now. The blog now runs from Blogger, which means now there's a lot of art I'm not putting on the site because I've done thousands of models, but there's a lot of stuff that's not good enough. You know, you don't really want hanging around that people are going to potentially give you a job for, right? So what I've done is I've basically removed all those. So now as I'm doing new things, I'll mount this on top of here. I'll say another one, a bit of mounting. This is going to be a pain. Right, you have to look down on me like that. It means as I do stuff, I can stick them on the blog. I stuck one of my daily warm-ups up the other day, you know, just the ones it was actually the warm down. Because I'd done it as a warm-up and I didn't like how it turned out. I know it's technically cheating, I redid it again on the night time with the warm down. It turned out a lot better actually. And it's also got a sort of very crude breakdown of, you know, how the thought process is working and the fact that you want to nail your forms as early as possible in, you know, your models, and it makes life easier, right? And then it's, to be honest, quite nice, it's as easy as falling off a fucking log after that. The rest of it's just brush control and knowing at least rudimentary anatomy, you know, ideally wanting to know as much as possible. That's a never-ending process, you know. Nobody ever pretend it is. Also, at the moment I'm putting, where's the lid of this thing gone? I've lost the bloody lid to it. It's Divine Summer Fruits flavoured water. No Coca-Cola for me today, because I had some yesterday. What the fuck was I rattling on about? Yeah. Well, some of you know that I've been planning a couple of short films and one not so short film. I'm also on putting the final touches to a pilot. Right, what's going to be a pilot for a TV series. Will it get commissioned? Probably not. I don't think it would, but it's got at least one so far. Even though it's not even getting to the shooting stage yet, but there's at least one well-known person who's agreed, in principle, to be in it. So that's good. You know, you need a name. If I do say so myself, it's quite nice. It's different, something you wouldn't expect. Very character-driven. Not much CG in it, funny enough. Because it's weird. It's one thing I know when I was in London, I was talking to David Trapinis, and he's done a whole load of things, you know, like that. And he said up with one he was working at the time, there was nothing that he'd call a CG fest. Because if you stick loads of CG into a film, unless it's called for, it just ruins it, you know. It's got to be character driven. You've got to care for the characters. If you don't, it's like the reason why the original Star Wars is so well loved, and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It was the journey of a handful of characters that you got to know extremely well, and you cared, you know, what they were going to do, what was going to happen to them. Christ, you even cared about Darth Vader to some extent. It was, you know, it was well wrote, well directed, blah blah blah, and all that. Now, I'm not going to bash the Star Wars prequels because they're not that bad. Let's face it, right? There's shit out there that's released now that's proclaimed as the greatest thing since the coming of Christ, and because it's shit, you know. It's occasionally you get a good film like Inception that comes forward and you think, well, you know, that's got effects and a good storyline, and it worked, which is great. So let's have a little walk. You can see I'm going to be newfangled with this bloody thing, aren't I? I'm going to be really newfangled. I'll tell you what, watch, I'll show you how I'm going to do this. I'll do the, I'll just mould it in, I'm going to make a shoulder rig out of it. Right? Well, rudimentary shoulder rig. Then I'll just sort the angle of this thing out. So I want it straight up like that. Put that one out there like that. Oh, we've got it wrong again. You've got to set the angle right. So, and now I'm walk along like this. Whoop, busted. Just went off the other thing. Now, if I had a fluid head on this, you'd get less jumping. If I wasn't walking along like clod hopping lunatic, it might help as well, you know. I can pan. I can do things like that and go, oh, there's the bridge. But yeah, this is just digging around, honestly. But I'll just get this thing tightened around like that again. Whoa! This is not as easy as I thought it would be. Right. How much time we got? Oh, well, technically we've got as long as we want, because now YouTube is allowed longer videos as long as it's under 2 gig in size. Fucking excellent. That's what I say. So if I overrun by a tiny wee bit, it's not a problem. Now, I do want to cut this to keep them around the 10-minute mark, these videos, because, well, if I have it too long, it just runs the battery down, and I'm not exactly somewhere where I can charge the fucking battery. And it's like an internal battery, not one you can swap over, you know. The one bad thing about the ZI8s, the Kodak ZI8s that I use for this, there's no bloody way I'm bringing the DSLR out, you know. It's like, it's not fucking production, it's just me rattling on. But yeah, so I've been working on that script, and I've got the first act now done and nailed down. The whole thing's sorted, but the first act of the first episode is the most important, because that's where you hopefully start caring about the characters. I've got to set the scene, and as let's say it's an ultimate take on reality, on life. So I'm not going to let any more, because it's a pretty damn good idea, and I don't want anybody else to do it first. But what else am I going to be doing? Well, as I've said, you've seen somebody around here before, right? Well, where I can get to from walking distance on my walks. And most of you will agree, it's some pretty nice countryside here, right? Well, there's better countryside than that you don't get to see. Just over, I'll have to do this funny angle, yon hills up there, over on the moors. And you've got high force, waterfalls and all sorts of shit, right? Now, as I've been asked to do the end user event again this year, which I was asked last year, you know, but it still stands, you know. I was asked again and again and again. I've been about 10 times so far in the last year. But me and another person who's doing the end user event are planning on, if we can pull it off, this is a big if, mind, because this is being done unpaid, it's a lot of work. I'm going to film some backplates out in the middle of nowhere in some really nice locations, right? Pull all the gear out, make it look really nice. We're then going to composite and some animated CG elements that we're not going to tell you what they are, right? Not at this moment in time. You have to fucking wait and see, won't you? Simple as that. We're going to take it all the way through to final composite and hopefully film quality. Then we will do a breakdown of everything in a 4-hour session at EUE. Everything from the concept through the modelling, texturing, the rigging, animation, lighting, rendering, look development, compositing, colour grading, right through to seeing play and letting everybody watch it. So it's not just Windows Mudbox, right? It's going to be something different. I'm actually playing around this year with covering a different application. You know, I'll cover Mudbox as well, but just like to start broadening things out, because as I said before, people don't realise, right? I've actually had, what time is it? I'll wind this up and I'll tell you in the next one. See you in a minute.